Hello friends, my name is Salman and you are watching my channel Select Tech. In this video I will discuss the 2019 server role regarding the virtualization, which is called Hyper-V. So let's get started this video. So first of all I will discuss the topic like understanding the Hyper-V, what is Hyper-V, and after that we discuss the Hyper-V manager, which is the GUI tool for implementing and administration of Hyper-V, and after that I will discuss the best practice for Hyper-V configuration. So before starting this topic I will discuss a very important concept of virtualization. Suppose in our home computer or our office computer we have a very powerful Xeon processor and very huge RAM like 64 GB and very high storage, for example 2 TB or storage, but as you can see we are using only few percentage of our resources. So if I will open my task manager, as you can see now I am using only 41% or 37% of my CPU, which is very low in size. Same like we are also using a very less memory. As you can see I have 32 GB, but I am still using 9.6 GB memory. Same thing is true for our hard drive. As you can see I am using only 0% of my hard drive. As you can see I have 1.8 TB hard drive and my second hard drive size also 1.8 TB. So these for these utilization of these resources in a good manner, we enable a feature which is called Hyper-V, where we can use our whole hardware in very efficient manner. So as you can see from the picture, now from the same configuration I will able to create the 4 machines. As you can see my one machine is Windows 10 with 8 GB RAM and 100 GB hard drive. My second machine is Windows Server with 16 GB RAM and 500 GB hard drive, and my third server is also 16 GB RAM and 500 GB hard drive. Also I will also create a Windows client operating system Windows 10 about the configuration of 8 GB and 200 GB. So in this way we can utilize our hardware full flash. So this is we can enable the virtualization on our client computer, and we are able to use this type of configuration. So in Windows environment we call this feature is as a Hyper-V. This feature available in Windows 10, Windows servers machine, but today I will demonstrate this feature on my client machine, which is of Windows 10 operating system. So for installing this feature I will type on run, I will type Windows feature and click on the first link, Windows feature, turn on and off. So here we can easily turn off this feature. As you can see from the Hyper-V, I will check Hyper-V from this Hyper-V management tool and Hyper-V platform. So you can click on this checkbox and click OK. Now it will install the Hyper-V feature on your client computer. I have already installed this feature, otherwise it will prompt you for restarting the computer. So now I will launch this feature from the run dialog box. I just type Hyper-V and I click on the Hyper-V manager. So it will open my Hyper-V manager. As you can see from the picture, my Hyper-V manager is open down, and as you can see I have 2 machines created. I have created a Windows 7 machine and Windows 10 Hyper-V machine. So basically this is the Hyper-V manager, this interface. So now let's talk about the Hyper-V manager. Basically Hyper-V is a hardware virtualization server role available for Windows Server. Basically there are many roles, as you know. There is a DNS role, Active Directory role, DHCP role. Same wise there is a role which is called Hyper-V. This role enable the virtualization feature on Windows Server, and with the help of the software which is used to enabling Hyper-V is called hypervisor. In Windows environment we call it Hyper-V, but in VMware environment we call it ESXi server. So basically it is used to access the physical hardware. And then the Hyper-V support many types of guest operating systems. So there are two types of operating system. The computer which is used for installing operating system is called a host operating system, and after installing a Hyper-V we install another operating system on our host which is called a guest operating system. So we will install the guest operating system on our host operating system. So Hyper-V will support all types of Windows version. You can install Windows, even Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10. All the supported version can be installed on Hyper-V. Also we can install on the Linux version on our Hyper-V manager. So in future videos I will show you how to install Linux as well as host Windows host on our Hyper-V manager. So the Hyper-V manager, the general Hyper-V feature can be grouped as follows. So the first group is called the management and connectivity. What does it mean, management and connectivity? We can use Hyper-V manager to connect our data center servers with the help of our client computer. So as you can see now I have my desktop machine, but with the help of my desktop machine I easily connect to my any Hyper-V server which is present on my data center. So I will show you how to do this, how to perform this task. So I open my Hyper-V manager and right click on my Hyper-V manager and select an option. So I right click on this and connect to the server. Here I will give the IP address of my server, and with the help of this Hyper-V manager we easily connect to another server. So in this way we can easily remotely connect our Hyper-V server from our Hyper-V manager which is installed on our client computer. So this is the management and connectivity. What is portability? Portability means we can easily move from Hyper-V machine from our client computer to our server, or we can also migrate the machine from our Hyper-V server to another Hyper-V server. So this is very, for example, in my home I will create a machine and I will export this machine to my Hyper-V server which is present in my data center. So this is the very important feature of Hyper-V. After that we had disaster recovery and backup. We can use the Hyper-V in a disaster management. So we can create a cluster and we can take a backup of our virtual machine and we can restore it. So in future video I will show you how to perform these tasks. Also we have an option of security. Security means we can easily secure our Hyper-V machine from the other machines. All the machines present present on my Hyper-V manager can be isolated with each other. So this is the also very important part of the Hyper-V. And optimization, we can easily allocate the resources like memory, storage, CPU to our Hyper-V machines. So this is the best way to utilize our hardware in a good manner. So overview of Hyper-V manager. System requirement for installing Hyper-V server will include the 64-bit processor. You need to have at least 64-bit processor, sufficient memory, at least 4 GB RAM, and Intel virtualization technology which you can enable on BIOS or firmware. You can verify the requirement of your system by running this command msinfo32 on your PC. So in this way you can easily verify your capabilities of your processor. So in run, just type msinfo32. So as you can see, I have a 64-bit base processor in my PC and Intel Core i5 processor. and as you can see, I have a 32 GB of RAM, physical RAM installed on my computer. So I am easily create any virtual machine on my desktop PC. So if you have a server, you can easily install Hyper-V role with the help of a server manager. I will show you. And from the PowerShell, you can install the command install Windows feature PowerShell commandlet. So this is the snapshot of the Windows 2019 server. I will show you when I will install Hyper-V on my Windows 2019 machine. So this is the overview of Hyper-V Manager. So I will show you in a live environment. This is the Hyper-V Manager. As you can see, this is the Hyper-V Manager, and here we can add our local machine, which is my desktop machine. And within this machine, I have created two virtual machines. One is called Windows 7, and another is called Windows 10 Hyper-V machine. So this is very straightforward GUI. You can create a new virtual machine from here. You can create hard drive, floppy disk. You can import virtual machine if you want to import from your data center or from another Hyper-V server. So I will show you these setting in my future upcoming videos. So as you can see, this is the setting of Hyper-V Manager. As you can see, I have a virtual hard drive. I can browse this this is the default location for saving my virtual hard drives, and this is the default location for my storing my machines. So I will discuss this setting in future. As you can see, this is the virtual switch manager, which is used for the networking of Hyper-V. Same, we have a virtual SAN manager. So this is the feature available in Hyper-V Manager. So now I will discuss some best practice for configuring Hyper-V host. Consider the following when provisioning Windows Server Hyper-V as a host. So the first step is to provisioning the host with adequate hardware. So you should have at least right amount of RAM, CPU and storage for installing Hyper-V. And the second part is deploy virtual machine on separate disk, or preferably you should have a solid state drive. For example, you install your base operating system in Windows on C partition, but your Hyper-V machines you can install on another disk. For example, you have two disks, so you will install the second Hyper-V machines on the second disk. Do not only collect other server roles. So keep remember, do not install any other role other than Hyper-V on your physical server. For example, don't install DNS, DHCP server. And then after installing the Hyper-V, you should manage your Hyper-V server remotely with the client like Windows 10 or Windows 11. So you can install the Hyper-V Manager on your machine and then access your Hyper-V server from there. Run Hyper-V by using a server core configuration. What is server core configuration? Server core configuration are those configuration where we do not install the graphical user interface on our Windows server. So I will show you in my future video how to install a server core installation on Hyper-V machine. So now I will show you how to install and download Windows 10 VM from free of cost from with the help of Google. So just type download Windows 10 VM and open this link, which is called Microsoft PowerAge. Right click and open in a new tab. So as you can see, this page is pop-up. Now select your virtual machine edition. So here you can see I have we have an option of Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 and Windows 10. So I will select Windows 10 and then I will select my platform. So in this lecture I will discuss the installation of Microsoft Hyper-V. So I will select the Hyper-V and now I will have an option of download zip of this OS virtual machine. So this is the virtual machine. Same like if you want to download the Windows Server, I will just type download Windows Server 2019, and the first link is appear, which is called Windows Server Microsoft Evaluation Center. So I right click and open in a new tab. So there is so many versions, so I will go with the English, and I will go with the ISO download of 64-bit edition. So I click on 64-bit edition, and I just click on Windows 64-bit connection, and as you can see, this downloading is starting. So I will cancel it out for saving my time, because I've already downloaded these ISOs in my PC. So now I move to my Hyper-V manager. Now I will show you how to create a new virtual machine in my Hyper-V manager. So I click on the new and select the first option, which is called virtual machine. So I click next. Here I give the name of my virtual machine. I called it Windows Server SRV.2019. So this is the name of my machine. I will select on my D partition. I have created a folder for Hyper-V machines. So I will select Hyper-V VM. Here I will create a new folder, which is called Windows SRV-2019. And I will select my virtual machine in this folder. So I select the folder and click next. So there is two types of generation. One is generation 1 and one is generation 2. Generation 1 is a very old type of setting. You can say BIOS setting. So I will go with generation 2. I will discuss this type of generation in the same video. So for 2019 I will go with generation 2. So basically it is used for 64-bit operating system, and it uses the UEFI BIOS, and generation 1 we use legacy BIOS. So now I will set up my RAM. So I will decide to give this machine 8 GB RAM. So what amount will be 8 GB? So I will open my calculator. So I will multiply 8 multiplied by 1028 for exact amount of RAM, which is equal to 8.92 MB of RAM. So I will select the 8192 and click next. I will select the use dynamic memory for this virtual machine. I will discuss in my next lecture what is the dynamic memory, but this is a very important feature. Now it will asking for the network configuration, but right now I do not want to connect to any network. So I click to the next, and this is the name of my hard drive. As you can see, the option is VHDX, which is the native for Windows virtual machine hard drive. So this is the size. I will give the size at this moment of about 100 GB, and I click on the next. So I will not install the operating system, I will install later on. So I click on the next. So this is the summary of my installation. I click on the finish. So as soon as I click on the finish, it will create a new machine. As you can see, this is the Windows Server 2019 machine have been created without operating system. So I right click and go to the setting. Now I will add an ISO file on my CD-ROM, DVD-ROM. So as you can see, there is no CD-ROM. So I have to add my CD-ROM with the help of add hardware option on the top. So I will click on the add hardware and click on the SCSI. I select the SCSI control and click on the add. Now I will select the DVD drive and click on the add button. So it will add the DVD drive, as you can see. Now I will mount an ISO file on this DVD, my ISO image on this DVD ROM. So I will browse my computer and looking for the ISO file of Windows Server 2019. So as this is the required file, so I select this file and click open. So I apply and OK. Now I mounted the ISO file. Now I right click on my machine and click on a connect. Now I will start this virtual machine. Now it will boot up from my ISO images. As you can see, I will start my machine. As soon as it will start, it will boot from the ISO file I have attached. So I press the enter. So the wizard is appear. I click on the start install now button. So this is a very straightforward installation. So in this screen I will choose the last option, desktop experience, and click on the next. Accept the license agreement and click on the custom install Windows only. So now I create a new partition of about 80 GB, which is enough for my demo installation. And click OK. And click on the next button. Now the installation is started. So during this installation I will discuss some important topics like what is the generation 1 and generation 2. As you can see, in generation 1 we can install both 32-bit operating system and 64-bit operating system, but in generation 2 we have only 64-bit operating system. In generation 1 we have only 2 TB of boot size, volume size, and in generation 2 we have a boot partition size up to 64 TB. Generation 1 support only the legacy BIOS style, and in generation 2 we have the new type of BIOS which is called EUFI. So this is the very new latest feature in generation 2. Also generation 2 supports secured boot and shielded VM. Basically what is generation boot? It is basically this feature encrypted the VM and restricts the access from the host. So we can only access our VM from our remote desktop client or our Hyper-V client. We don't access our machine from the local host where I will install the operating system. So this is the basic difference of generation 1 and generation 2. So I will always go with the generation 1 whenever I will go for new operating system. So as you can see from the picture, this is the generation 1 settings, and this is the, as you can see in generation 1 we have so many options like ID controller 0, but in generation 2 we don't have this legacy type of controllers. So that's why it is have a more option. As you can see, we have a BIOS, and here we have a firmware which is UEFI. So basically this is the snapshot of two machines of generations, and here you can see the management size are always the equal. So there are two main settings on VM. One is called hardware and one is called management. I will show you in my live environment. So this is my Windows 7 machine. If I right click and go to the setting, as you can see now hardware setting and the management setting. So in hardware setting, as you can see, this is my BIOS. So this is my old type of generation 1 setting. But as you can see now I have installed second machine which is generation 2 machine. So I will go to the setting and show you. Here I don't have a old option of BIOS. So these are the settings which is present on our live machine. So basically this option depend upon the machine's generation, which generation do you choose during your installation. So the installation process is going on. Now as you can see, I have installed successfully. Now I will give the password of my administrator account. So I will type my password. Click of the next button. So I finalizing Windows finalizing our installation settings. So this is very easy and straightforward processing of installing any virtual machine or our Hyper-V manager. So I will enter my credential on my virtual machine. So as you can see, now my desktop is up here. So this is a very simple and straightforward process, and I think as you can see, I demonstrate all these steps of creating virtual machine. So if you like this video, then subscribe my channel and like the hit button. So in the next video I will show you the detailed setting of my virtual machine. So again, thank you very much for your time and concentration. Thank you very much.